Everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Moses Missing, available on Amazon paperback and ebook. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double the Spence, Double the Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Songs by Serena Wagner, based on the life of Dave, including 30 Quiz of Pains and King David Psalms. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Songs Serena Wagner. Also check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com and Linktree at the Mike Wagner Show, 50 podcast platforms, 110 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, also Apple Music, BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok today. We're here with Amazing Lay, who's a New York-based actress, currently in Los Angeles, with writer, filmmaker, and also co-founder of 18 Bleecker Films and award-winning production house, and also part of Dylan Studios. Grew up in New York City in a Greek-American household, rich with folklore, myths, and also traditions, and also encouraged a child by a librarian to retell stories. And one of them is a house in the middle of the street. Live, ladies and gentlemen, plus dudes in beautiful downtown Los Angeles. The amazing New York-based actress, now in Los Angeles, writer, filmmaker, co-founder of 18 Bleecker Films and award-winning production house and Demi Villa Studios. We'll be talking about her book, The House in the Middle of the Street, the multi-talented Jennifer Sklias-Gahan. Jennifer, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Mike. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. It's great to be on board as well, too. And you got some great stuff we'll talk about. You're a New York-based actress. You're currently in Los Angeles. You're a writer, filmmaker. You're a co-founder of 18 Bleecker Films. It's a award-winning production house. You're also with Demi Villa Studios. Hope I got that right. And you
You
grew up
did.
in New York City in a Greek-American household, rich with folklore, myths, and a lot of traditions. And you've been encouraged as a child by a librarian to retell favorite stories. And you've been in a number of productions like The Urban Ghost Story, also Data Management, The Louis Log, and you have a book which is a haunting modern fairy tale of inheritance, secrets, and the creature we invite into our lives. The book is called The House in the Middle of the Street. Before I get into that, Jennifer, tell us how you first got started.
You got it. Yes, I'm in Los Angeles actually just visiting. I just got here last night for a book signing for The House in the Middle of the Street at Diesel Bookshop Thursday at 6:30 Pacific time.
Okay.
Um, how did I get started? Well, I'm
Way
an
back.
act. Yes, way back.
Way back. Into the time machine, good doctor. Way back, like the TARDIS
Okay.
in Doctor
All
Who.
right, let's go way back. I would say. What I'm gonna go way back. When I was very young, I actually didn't, you're talking about like 4, 5, 6 years old. I was very quiet and didn't really speak much. And my family actually thought like maybe I had a hearing issue. I grew up in a household with a lot of people, extended Greek family. So I grew up with my grandparents, my mother, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. So there were a lot of people, and really, I was just fine. I could speak just fine, but I was observing. And my aunt, who lived with me at the time, um, encouraged me. She took me and she was a brownie leader, like the
Hmm.
mini Girl Scouts.
Right.
Um, and she took me as the mascot and put me in one of their plays. And the story goes like she put me up there, she gave me some dialogue to read. I started talking and I never shut up after that. So she she solved the problem. I guess I
uh,
figured out, that through characters, through stories, I felt a little more comfortable talking about myself.
hmm,
So actually like interviews and things like that are a little more nerve-wracking for me
hmm.
than to slip into telling you a story or becoming a character. So I guess that seed was planted, or like I felt that comfortability and that avenue in how to express myself from way back then. And as I got a little older, I read a lot. I definitely got lost in fantasy and books. It was like you talked about getting let's time travel. I mean, I feel like reading is the best way to time travel and to
Hmm.
travel, period. Um, so I did a lot of reading. I spent a lot of time in the library. Um, I did grow up in a Greek family, so and my mother immigrated here, and actually we didn't have a whole lot of books in the house at all. It was like
Oh, wow.
cookbook, and there we had set of encyclopedias, but it wasn't a house with a proper library. And my mother worked all the time. We were working class and, trying to live a better life. Um, and my mother always encouraged me, go to the library, use the library. Um, so I did. And the one storybook we had, though, was the Greek myths. And my
Mm,
uncle gifted me when I was quite young, because he saw that I was interested in reading Hans Christian Andersen's classic collection of fairy tales, which I still have that book today that he gave me.
nice.
And I really fell in love with that. And my librarian noticed that I was very interested in that particular book because I would bring it to school, and she said, "Why don't you memorize?" I think I was in second grade. She said, "Why don't you memorize your favorite tale from that collection,
Okay.
and you can storytell it to the younger kids?" And I did that, and I loved it. And many years went by, and I did a lot of different things, and but ultimately, like that stuck. And I think I always, no matter what I was doing, there was a period where I was a journalist, and I was
Oh.
always leaning towards storytelling more than like the facts.
Hmm.
And actually fell into acting in my early 20s. I was working as an assistant producer for a producer as a side job. And he threw me into the film. And I had,
It's like, here we go. We need a body, right?
yeah. And, and the truth was, it was a secret that I kept, that I liked theater and I liked acting, but I didn't mention it because my family was immigrated here and really coming from Greece. And at the time, my mom was fleeing the civil war there.
Oh.
And, they were coming out of poverty. And you don't come to America, in her opinion, which I understand, um, to be an artist, stay in Greece for that. You come here to climb a ladder and become a professional and have
Hmm.
opportunities in education and such. Um, so that wasn't something that my family really encouraged. So once I fell into it, then I started doing it, and one thing led to another, and now, and I'm here. Um, and in the process of the last few decades, I guess almost 10 years ago,
Hmm.
I created 18 Bleecker Films, and we did a few films through that company, which I think next year there'll be a feature coming out of there.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Okay.
and I created Demi Vula Studios really because I wanted to veer away from this very specific style of 18 Bleecker films, um, and go into theater, cinema, books, different kind of producing. So it has a different aesthetic to it, um, and reaches more media and more
Mm.
avenues of storytelling. Yeah.
Hmm. That's really interesting. I liked your story of how you came about and getting this venture as well, and going back to you were told to memorize a certain story by Hans Christian Andersen. Which story was that? I was curious.
It's The Little Match Girl.
Oh, the little match girl, cute.
I know.
I like to
I'm
hear about the little match girl in your short words. You can make it quick if you want. So, the little
okay.
match girl, I like to hear it, or we should.
Do you know the story?
It's been a while, to be honest with you. I
Okay.
need to clear some cobwebs out there. We mentioned Han Christian Andersen's like, boy, it's been a while. It's my
Yes.
microfiche. I can't find it.
Yeah, well, it's not one of his most famous. I mean, he's very famous for The Little Mermaid. He has other that are much more famous. But The Little Match Girl is about a very young girl. It's New Year's Eve. Um, and her family is very poor, and her mother sends her out to sell these matches on the street
Oh,
to make
okay.
some money. And she is standing outside a restaurant and looks in and sees this magnificent goose at their dinner table and the
Oh,
people enjoying this New Year's Eve feast. And she's very, very cold. Um, so she takes the chance and she just strikes one match and she warms up. And in that warmth, she sees a fantasy, a dream that she
Oh,
thinks is
okay.
real. And I won't tell you the ending, but
Of course not. We just want to get an idea of it. So we
we
only
have
everybody
an
read, of
idea,
course.
yeah, of what happens to her on that night.
Okay. And it's not cooking the goose, I'll tell you right now. So
Yeah, so it's a great story. It's a bit tragic, and the
mm,
way that I understand fairy tales and Greek myths, they're very extreme. You have like archetypal characters, and the end can be stark, but
oh
they're
yeah, it's not your typical and they live happily ever after. It's not your typical.
right. That's like the Disney version of The Little Mermaid. Because if you read the authentic Little Mermaid, she doesn't end up with the guy. She ends up losing everything.
Mm,
Or for instance, I always love this, like Cinderella, when the prince comes to see, goes through the town to see which maiden fits the shoe.
mm,
Um, when he goes to the house, Cinderella's house, and her stepsisters are there. In the original story, they actually cut their toes off in order to fit into the shoe. So,
really? Oh
yeah,
my gosh, that's gruesome. Ugh.
Mike.
Ugh. Just for a
So,
glass slipper? Oh my God. Don't they understand the
well,
long range ramifications? Oh my
Well,
God.
why? Why would they do that? And why would he write it
Oh
that way? To
boy.
show the desire to have status and or to have love or whatever it is that they're going to receive from the prince. So fairy tales and myths are done in a really extreme way in order to prove the point of like humanity and what we do, like what we do for love, what we do for how deep is our pain? How greedy can we get? How much truth can you find? So it's written in very extreme fashion so that it comes right home. And it's fun,
Hmm.
and it's fun. So
Huh.
I was very influenced by those types of stories, and the house in the middle of the street is a dark fairy tale. It has Greek mythological creatures in it, and it starts out there once was a house that sat in the middle of a simple and quaint tree-lined street. It starts that way. It gets a little gruesome. So
Mhm.
I follow that format where I'm saying something that's very real to me through extremes
Right.
and fantasy.
And how extreme does it get? We'll find out in 1 minute with the house in the middle of the street with Jennifer Sklias-Gahan. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable, custom designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon, paperback, and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, one target, where truth is illusion and those will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia's garnered great reviews. In Eve 11, endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double Suspense, Double of Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by a sweet psalm of Special Rena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite pains and King David Psalms. The sweet psalms gives new perspective of David through Psalms he wrote. His time as shepherd started in complicated yet turnt relation with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalms by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com and link tree at the Mike Wagner Show. 50 podcast platforms, 110 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, also Apple Music, BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. Take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, and hoodies makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson Zia for great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com, and subscribe on your favorite platform, including YouTube, Spotify, Spreaker, and more. We're here with the amazing multi-talented New York-based actress visiting Los Angeles, writer and filmmaker, co-founder of 18 Bleecker Films, also Demi Vula Studios, Jennifer Sklias-Gahan here on the Mike Wagner Show. Before I get back to House in the Middle of the Street, you did some other works as well, too. We'll cover it really quickly before we get to the book. You did the Urban Ghost Story, Matilda. You won several honors, and also data management. So let's talk about those two real quick.
Data management is a sci-fi short, and it's about the world has been taken over, well, is run by AI, and
Mm-hmm.
people no longer have to work a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, that works just fine. They're creative, they know how to organize their day, enjoy their life. And some people, it's just too much time on their hands and there's no structure. So they sign up to go into this modular business where they live a 9 to 5 job. But once in, they don't know that they've entered in. And
Oh.
it is something similar to the concept of Severance, but it was actually out before then. Um, I don't know if you know that TV series. So I play the boss. That's at the office, and I am aware that this is a setup and that people have signed up for this because they need meaning in their life. So it's really about having meaning and purpose and the structure we need, and deception. But it's a
Mm.
great character. She's like a tough boss, and she has a secret. Um,
Mm.
so that's a lot of fun to play. And Matilda is an urban ghost story. You know, it's about a woman who finds herself in a tough situation, and she's visited um, really by three ghosts or creatures
Mm-hmm.
that are trying. At first, she's afraid of them, and then she realizes they're trying to help her to see the situation that she's in. So I'll leave it at
Mm.
that. But yeah, they were great.
Okay. And plus, you also did the Louise Log and also the Rise of Horror Betsy, and talk about those quickly.
The Louise log was great. That was quite a while ago. Anne Fleurneau wrote it and directed it, and at that time there were no web series. I think there was one other.
Mm-hmm.
So she was really a pioneer in it. And she filmed it in the West Village. I played Ava, also a very fun character, kind of like an egomaniac, who was taking over her sister's house, and it was comedy. But we had a lot of fun doing that. And Anne really was brilliant. I mean, web series really took off after that, but she was one of the first. Um, and I believe like you could still the louiselog.com. I think that you could see all the episodes on it, and it's funny. They're great. And Horror Betsy, I filmed that in Oregon.
Okay.
That was really a great storyline. Again, it was a ghost story about a woman in 19th century Western frontier who was attacked and left for dead. A young girl comes and finds her by the river and drags her to the cabin and takes care of her until she's better. And then my character, Betsy, gets her rifle and goes out for revenge to track down the people that did this. And that was just really fun to prepare for.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to use guns.
Nice.
I rode horses. It was great I mean, the period is amazing to step into. So
Mm.
yeah, it was wonderful. It's a good
It's
ghost story.
it's like a lot of fun too. You also were in FBI's Most Wanted. That was fun to do also.
That was really fun to do. Played a Italian American who was on the run. Her and her boyfriend were up to no good, and the FBI came and took them away. And she's fighting as they're dragging her out. So that was great. Yeah.
It sounded like a lot of fun too, and of course, getting back to the book as well too, the House in the Middle of the Street. It seems like everything ties together. Don't you wish you took all the works you did and also tied into House of Middle of the Street, which is like a haunting modern fairy tale. Don't you wish it tied
Mhm.
into that?
Yeah, it was I mean, I like ghost stories and I like um period and fantasy. I just feel like you can easily express for me, like it's very fun to express how I see things, what I notice in life, what I experience through fantasy
Okay.
and supernatural and mystery. And I'm a huge fan of Greek mythology, and
Oh.
I feel like everything exists in those stories. I mean, they've
Hmm.
been around this long because they really teach us how to live, and I think fairy tales are the same. They're giving us a template, like this is what it is to be in the human condition. And,
Hmm.
are there powers greater than ourselves that intervene and facing our own demons? Like they're monsters in my story, but are they real monsters or are they my monsters? Is it
Or
something
like
I'm,
imaginary, right? Like imaginary friends, imaginary enemies, and all that.
but just our own demons and
Hmm.
how we handle them? Like it's in a story, you can place them anywhere,
Hmm.
and so yeah, I hope you read it
Well,
or
certainly. Well,
listen
too.
to it.
Right. Yeah. You talked about Greek mythology earlier. I took up Greek mythology back in high school. I was fascinated. And what are some of your favorite Greek mythology tales that you read about?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you that I used some mythological creatures and storylines in the House in the Middle of the Street. Some of my favorites. There are creatures called harpies that I have in my story, and the woman that owns the house that dies and passes it on to Rebecca, who is the main character in the story. Her name is Minerva Atreus, and I picked that name to give the flavor of the House of Atreus, which is
Hmm.
a cursed Greek mythological house. So I love those
Mm.
stories, and Jason and the Argonauts, and the harpies are there, and the bow reeds. They're all characters, these winged characters that do Zeus's biddings. Um, that's the harpies, I believe they call them the hounds of Zeus. So,
Okay.
and good and evil.
Right. Yes. And of course, it basically just ties into generational trauma and everything like that. And you got the demons in there. How does one person, break away from generational trauma, and what can one do to break from the addictions? Like, harpies, go away, or Zeus dogs,
Right,
go away.
right. Well, without giving away too much about the story, there's the harpies are, as I put them in my book, the creatures of more. They show up and they are emaciated and they are ravenous and they eat and they devour and they are never satisfied. And that you could say that's addiction.
Hmm.
And then what do we do with it? Do we invite it in? In my story, I do stick with the folklore, which is common, in fairy tales where something evil approaches, but it can't come in unless you invite it.
Hmm.
So there's things and rules and structures that we do in our lives that actually can protect us. We have choices. So I play with that in the story.
Hmm.
What power we have and what is ours to do and what isn't ours to do.
Right. And it's also based on a couple inheriting an old home, think it's going to be great and everything like that. And
Hmm.
and I guess the thing is what makes them buy a home, how they first get a home, and what was the point they say, hey, this is going to be great, especially when you start buying the home, then they realize it's going to be great, and all of a sudden this happens. What was that point
Right.
when they think it's going to be great?
Right. The Minerva passes away, and then her home is according to her last will and testament, is to be left to her next of kin. Everyone passes it up, and many, many years go by, and the house sits and sits until someone passes the information, Rebecca's information, to the firm that's handling it. And they
Mm.
contact her and her husband and say, there's this home from your distant relative. Um, it's yours. And the only
Oh.
thing, yeah, and so and if you would like it in all its belongings, she agrees. She says, this is wonderful. She's very grateful to receive it. And the firm gives her a letter. Um, and she's told that Minerva insisted that whomever were to take this house and take ownership of it must have this letter and read it. And on the front of the envelope, it says instructions for the keeper of the house.
Mm.
Rebecca never opens it and she never reads
Uh-oh.
the instructions.
Bad
So,
idea.
so on New Year's Eve, she's baking bread and there's a knock on the door. And I'm going to leave it there.
Pretty much it. And we are going to leave her right here. We'll get to more on the house in the middle of the street with Jennifer Sklias-Gahan in just 1 minute. We'll keep you in suspense. You're listening to The Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Moses and Missing, the Sweet Songs by Serena Wagner, Base Life of Dave, including 30 Quiz of Pains and King David Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Songs Serena Wagner. We'll be back to the multi-talented Jennifer Sklias-Gahan of The House in the Middle of the Street after this time out. Rebecca author Jennifer Sklias-Gahan, the Mike Wagner Show with the house in the middle of the street. And there's a couple of things I forgot to mention. What inspired you to first start the house in the middle of the street?
I had written a screenplay, um, I would say about 8 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
which was a larger world in 1836 New York City, and it's very historic fiction. And a few years ago, I was talking to my agent, and she said, I really feel like you should write something, and I know you're writing this screenplay that you kind of put aside, but why don't you bring it back? So really, I had some time. Um, and I started looking through the bits and pieces of writing that I keep and which I'm going to develop and which I might want to make into a film or and I had never written a book.
Mm.
And I really just through her encouragement and her suggestion, just explore some of the stories and see what comes up. And I put time aside. I woke up very early. I guess it was in October, early October. Um, I set my alarm 5 o'clock, got up 5 a.m., sort of got my coffee, sat down, and I decided to just see what happens if I were to just show up for a bunch of hours every morning, because I'm still going to work, so I had to do it early, and see if I explored this storyline, what would come out. And this is what came out of it. So it
Mm.
is, connected and it really just took a life of its own. Originally at that time, I had thought, I want to narrate it and just put it out as an audio. And one thing
Mm.
led to another. I did lay the audio down and then made it into a book. And then Rarebird Publishing connected with me, and we took the audio and they made it into a beautiful vinyl. So it's
Nice.
gorgeous. Yeah, it's really gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I've seen the pictures you sent. That was very nice.
yeah, it's such a great way to listen, and it's so artistic and beautiful. And then we have the book. Actually, I have a book right here.
Oh,
Um,
we like to see it.
yeah, there's the book.
Okay,
Um,
a little closer for our audience here, viewers.
yes,
Oh
and
my God, that's beautiful. I love it. Looks like an album cover.
yep, and the illustrations are done by Miles Mullen, and I'll just show you. He just did such a great job. I'll show you the children that come to the house. So I wrote this, and then um, there's the boy and the girl.
Okay. Oh, very nice.
So you can see,
That's such fine detail.
yep, there's and there's a gothic feel to it. So I wrote the story, and then I have decided at this point that it comes from a much bigger world. So I'm going to go back into that original screenplay and write it in a series of Gothic tales that follow this one. And I'm interested in making this first section into a film.
Oh, very nice.
Hmm.
Okay. And this kind of reminds me of like the it's almost like a Brothers Grimm, it seems like you talk about
Hmm.
Hans Christian Andersen tales. This kind of like a spin of the Brothers Grimm, which
Absolutely.
can be grim at times. I mean, no intent of playing words, but seriously, it
Right.
is like the Brothers Grimm. It
Yeah,
can
like
be
we
grim, yes.
absolutely. Yeah. They're meant to be that way, like we said, like with Cinderella. So it's interesting because, originally I was writing a screenplay and then somewhere along the line it turned into a book and now it's sort of going back to film. Um, and I think it has that kind of aesthetic. It's a gothic ghost story and um there's it's very whimsical and
Hmm.
period and beautiful and fun to dip into that world.
And it sounds a lot of fun. And what else you want readers to get from the book?
I would be very interested in how what it brings out in people. What does the storyline that's why I hesitate when people say, what is it really about for you? I'm more interested in what other people take from it and how they see the creatures or the structure of what you let into your life and
Mm,
the creatures of more. Like what are your creatures of more? So
right. And I think that's a great point you covered as well, too. We want everybody to learn from that. And Jennifer, where can we find the house in the middle of the street and all he works at?
you can find it where all good books are sold, on most platforms, Amazon and Barnes and Noble. I do believe it's available at Rare Bird Publishing, the vinyl and signed copies of the hardcover book. On Amazon, um, the hardcover is available, the ebook is available, and I believe March 31st, the audio version will be available.
Nice. Well, certainly looking forward to it. And what's your website and how do people get a hold of you? What's your website?
It is jennifersklias.com.
All right. We want everybody to check out right now and make sure you check out the book as well. The multi-talented Jennifer Sklias-Gahan on the Mike Wagner Show at the House in Middle Street. And tell us, what do you got coming up in 2026 and beyond? And what can we expect from you?
Well, I'll be starting April shooting The Cutting Room Floor, which is a feature. And we will see what comes after that. I am writing the second and the third tale in this series. So I'll definitely reach out to you, Mike, to let you know when that comes out.
All right, sounds great. Just keep us up to date. We'd love to have you back, Jennifer. This has been really great. And a couple things. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career, Jennifer?
Say that again, Mike.
Who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Um, I would say, like we said, Hans Christian Andersen, the Brothers Grimm, Neil Gaiman,
Oh, okay.
and I think those writers are have really deeply influenced me. And the folklore I grew up with in Greek mythology, yeah, those are my greatest influences. And for Greek plays and the tragedies, like as an actor, if you know those archetypes, um, you see them even in like FBI Most Wanted. We take from that always. So those are my greatest influences.
And certainly a great one as well, too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Creatively,
In general.
I would say what my book says, beware of the creature of more and be selective who you invite in.
Hmm. And I think
That's it.
that's the most important lesson we need to understand during these times. Who to let in, who to keep out. I think we really need to keep that in mind. That's really great. We're here at the
Thanks, Mike.
multi-talent Cheryl. We're at the multi-talent Jennifer Sklias-Gahan of the house in the middle of the street here on the Mike Wagner Show. Jennifer, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh, happy back. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your works?
Amazon.com, Rare Bird Publishing for the book. And you can find me at jennifersklias.com. Instagram, Jennifer Sklias-Gahan. And the house in the middle of the street.com.
All right, we want everybody to check it out right now. Once again, Jennifer, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh, have you back. We wish all best. And Jennifer, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thanks, Mike. Take care.